Hi, John Rule. This
Hi
is
there.
the 6th of October, and my Louisiana Tech team won 55-3 on Saturday, so I wore their hat. Here we are at the Insect Fest last weekend, or last, what was it?
Yeah, I missed
Thursday.
that.
And that's their new T-shirt design. And there's the Halberg Ecology Camp, Camp Clearfork. And this whole thing's for kids. I mean, adults
great.
love it and learn a lot, but I mean, it's set up for kids. And these are some of the posters and things they had at the Insect Fest. And there's a gentleman who I understand was English professor, but he's like me in his old age and you. He's interested in nature so much that that's what he's doing, is supporting those issues, and that's his
Right.
wife, I believe. And anyway, they were there, and we'll jump to some other people just down the road. I just walk around and make pictures.
Right.
Here's chickadees, and it says, how many caterpillars does it take to raise one nest of chickadees? Well, it takes a lot.
Right, smart.
All right. Now we're going to see some
I'm
pictures
sure.
of invasive insects and thousand cankers disease of black walnut, and those critters are not good, and gypsy moths are not good, and
Right.
so we've seen pictures of different ones. And here's emerald ash borer, which
I've not seen before. That's great.
but we hope they're not getting bad around here. I don't
I've
think
got
it
a lot of
says
green
it.
ash down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of it here too. This little guy's using one of these highfalutin microscopes. When you and I got to use them as children or even in college, they weren't electronic and super. That
No, they
gal
sure
is
weren't.
really impressed with the fish in that tank.
Well, that's great.
And here you can see kids on both sides looking
Yeah,
through, and
looks
there's
like I see a
largemouth and a gar and
I see what we
several
used to
things.
call lion sides or Kentucky bass.
Kentucky
too.
bass, yeah. And
Yeah, there's no.
they always have some nice fish in there, sometimes more extremely large and so forth than those. Native stream bank landscape, do not mow. Well, we showed that sign a couple of weeks ago, and I've been going back now and then to the stream side area on the UA campus.
That's beautiful.
And this morning, the 6th of October 2014, here's a monarch. And now here
Cornflowers.
is, and there's some different species on there. They may have been American ladies, and that one down the lower left maybe a checker spot.
The upper right is what?
Buckeye at the upper right.
Buckeye.
And up at the top's another
Butterfly.
skipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a variety on that little patch of coneflower, and it's always nice to get them together so you
Yeah,
can
that's
look at them
wonderful.
and see them up close. And some of these, I cropped the pictures some to get them a little larger. And you were here and saw this before, didn't you?
I think so. But I'm
It's
not
the
sure.
chrysalis of a monarch.
Right.
Anyway, I showed it last
I
week or week
remember
before,
that.
and it was when you weren't here.
Yeah. Right.
But this thing's still hanging there, and it's the only one I know where to find right now
Wow.
in our area. So I
see
photographed
the
it again. And
Wing
it's-
inside there.
yeah,
looks like.
yeah, you can see formations in there.
And
that's
yes,
that's a monarch caterpillar that we hope will get to make a chrysalis
Right,
like
we
that,
sure
and then
do.
turn out like that big, beautiful one we saw
Yeah,
a couple
right.
minutes ago, a minute or so ago. And this is all over there on the university campus, and gradually that's going to really be a spectacular wildflower area along there. It's already great, but they keep adding to it and removing invasives
Great.
every year.
I'm glad to hear that.
Now, there's a little moth that's sort of tan or
Yep.
brown or gray, depends on the light you're looking at it. But you see, I cropped to get closer to it. And there's one up at the top that I'm not sure which species it is. I believe that's a
There's so
checker
many.
spot. And you can see a skipper with it.
Yeah.
So I sort of exploited that little patch there because it was great.
That's great.
Here's the sign at Mullins Creek. by Audubon, impervious surfaces are areas that do not allow water to soak into the ground, like parking lots, sidewalks, and rooftops.
In other words, a good part of the nation.
Yeah, and so that sign had some more information talking about why it's important for the water to soak in and clean, get it clean before it goes to the stream. Till next time, it's Aubrey Shepherd, John Rule. See ya. Hello, it's Aubrey Shepherd with John Rule.
Here we are.
On the 6th of October, 2014. And we're looking at some more pictures from this previous weekend. Actually, that's from a couple of weeks ago. That was Jacob George. And last night we saw him, and last night most of his friends ever saw him because he left us, and we're not sure just why or how, but he was a veteran who had lived a hard life trying to get over having been in.
And a very,
Was he in that?
Very live human being, and very, very nice, and just all the good ways.
Here's a good question. What about aphids? Well, ants love to eat the sugary aphid honeydew, so they protect.
They're milking them.
Uh-huh, basically. See Fran Alexander and her granddaughter? Yeah.
Very grandmother expression.
Yes, and Joe Neal and friends.
Right.
And that's the young man on the left. I think you may have gone to the program where he did a butterfly program, a bird program with Joe a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago up at the university. And Mitchell Pruitt. And he's, I guess he's about a junior in college now, and probably be in graduate school doing scientific work. Native Arkansas plants for birds and butterflies. And there's a chart that Audubon has that you can get on the internet and a copy of and see all the things that are good for certain kinds of birds and insects that the birds eat.
Yep.
Simple steps for healthier pest control. Use less toxic pest control.
Pesticides.
Yes. And be sure you actually have a problem, because people think of bugs as harmful when it's actually helping their plants.
Yeah, overkill.
You can see how those kids love things like cockroaches.
Yeah.
And like this lady's on the left there in the orange shirt, she's got something on her wrist. And you'll see what it is close up. And that really helps the kids not to be afraid of insects. That's
irrational fear.
Yes. And look at this critter she's got. Next close up, come on close up, come on close up. There he is.
My goodness, I don't know what that is.
Looks fierce.
Definitely an insect. Leg counting.
Yeah. You can tell that's the new T-shirt design because everybody's wearing them out there that day. Everybody that worked at the program already had theirs. We got one to take home.
It has a reputation of killing livestock or humans, but it doesn't.
That's good to know.
That's good to know.
Paper wasps, they're also harmless.
Yeah.
They eat young larvae waiting in the nest and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here we've got
walking sticks.
Now here, remember we're talking about monarch on the left.
Right, yeah.
Viceroy on the right.
Viceroy on the
and the queen is related to the monarch, and the other one is related to the. Here's the sign that was made up in New York and came all the way to Fayetteville for the Jacob George event, and this was carried in the Global Warming Day parade. Druding, and we know her too. Anyway, there's another one of the signs there that had been made up for Jacob in the past. The end of the Afghan war.
Right to the end.
And I think that's one of the things that depressed him so much is more Middle East war actually starting up again.
Right.
And there's a book about him and some of the things he wrote, and they also have DVDs, CDs of his music and so forth. And there's a sign they had up, support your local war resistors. There he is with a little girl who it turns out we know now was his niece,
Oh,
and she was there and got on the stage with him.
I see.
And you can see some other folks you recognize, but yeah, there she is. In the slideshows that they had on the wall on a big screen,
Yeah.
she was in there with him, and then she was actually on the stage with the other people, her mom and others,
Right.
during the program. And they had a cake for George, Jacob George, and all about bicycles, because he did the ride to the end all
Right.
across country. It was really crowded when I first got there early at 11 o'clock, I guess it started. And, it was just packed for a long time. Yeah, there's the same little girl back there in the background.
Which
She
one?
was that little girl in the
The
center.
red-haired.
And so there were some of the musicians. Anyway, that was a great and inspiring event.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
It was worthy of
It's-
Jacob. That's great.
It's great. People came from all over the country, it seems.
Yeah, it was amazing. They touched so many people's lives.
Well, maybe we touch one. Till next time.
I could touch them with nature. Yeah.
We'll see you.